Hello. So it's been a couple of days since I've been trying to do the first part of the video, and I haven't. That video is so big I can't even hardly get it downloaded. So this is the part 2 of the bind with me, I guess, video, and I look crazy right now. My cheeks are red, my nose is red. And that's because I just watched the saddest movie ever and I need to get in a good mood. And I'm like, I've been having problems with that other video trying to edit it and get it up for you guys and myself, because mainly it's for me. But I just want to get quilting, so I'm going to finish this because I have a lot of stuff I want to do. Time just keeps slipping by and it just keeps going, so hopefully these videos will be up someday, but if not, I guess, you know, whatever. So I'm gonna start again. It doesn't really matter, like, once you have your binding on all the way around the quilt so that it's bordering the quilt, it doesn't matter where you start. I do, just because when I start my binding, I start on the left side. I like to start on the left side again. It doesn't really matter though. So basically, super motivated, you probably would want to iron. I don't. I skip steps that some quilters feel are necessary, and I don't. If I don't feel it's necessary, I'm not going to do it. That's just me. So, if I find any strings along the way, I'm going to cut them. This particular fabric, as beautiful as it is, it's Moda. I think it's Last Bloom, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I was gonna go and look at it, but I'm not. I think it's Last Bloom by Moda, and I believe this came out last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago, but I think it was last year. So basically, you just get your binding, you flip it over, and like I said, I don't like to pin. I wanted to pin for just a moment, but now I don't want to pin. I'm just gonna go in and get to it. So I'm just gonna go just ever so slightly more than 1/4 of an inch, and it should put my threads right outside my first seam on the other side. When we're done, I'll see if I can show you what I mean. Make sure everything's set right. I haven't done anything. It should be set right. Okay. And this one, it's not hard. It is a little bit tedious, but I only go a few inches at a time. And I go a little bit slower on this one until I get in the groove where I feel like I can go a little bit faster. And it takes me a little bit of time sometimes to feel like I can go a little bit faster with this. Goodness. You know, I didn't notice I was doing that clearing my throat thing on my last video, which I did a lot after I watched it. And now that I'm doing this video, I'm finding myself doing it again. Maybe it's because I sit here all by myself and I don't talk, but when I start talking, I have to start clearing my throat. I don't really know. I'm not sick. I'm actually, as far as my asthma and my allergies are going, I actually feel really good right now. Snow's on the ground, the leaves are all falling, the pollen's really low right now. Like, I feel pretty darn good actually, and I'm still all the time. I don't know. I only notice it when I'm coughing though. Oh, as I was saying about, I've only worked with Moda fabrics a couple of times, and I will say that both of those times it's very what am I trying to say, very stringy, very stringy. I think my next quilt that I use with Moda fabrics, on, which feel fabulous, by the way. They feel so good, so good. But if I do, I know I am. I got some Moda fabric I'm going to use on another quilt. I know I am. I'm going to try the Fray Stop, I think is what it's called. See if that makes it a little bit less stringy. Darn it, there we go again. Okay, so I'm coming up to my edge, and I want to make sure this bottom side, at least on the corner where I'm sewing to, is pulled out. Otherwise you'll have to pick it out so you can pull the binding around to the back. Just a little thing to remember. And I go right to the edge of the fabric and then back stitch. And then the reason I try and go slow and try to get this part come on, quick. Just try to get this part like even along the edge. This one's not too bad. I've had much worse, but I've had better. So I need to really focus on that. But if you see on the flip side, see if I can see. I don't know if you can even really see. But that stitch I made, I can't really get it for you to see it, is just outside where I flipped it over. Just outside of there, which is what I like. Now you can make an even smaller binding at 2 inches and actually try and make it go right on the edge of your binding to go exactly over the top of your first stitch. That gets a little bit hard to pull the binding over for me so far. Maybe later, but for right now I'm still using the 2 1/4 inch binding. Lord, what's the deal? What I was doing right there is just trying to get the pin to help me match the fabric up in the corner, which I'll show you in just a second. I might need to do it again because I just let it go like, ugh. Okay, I got it, I got it. Back stitch. Okay. I'm just trying to make it comfortable for me to sew, that's all. Okay. Well, I actually got a new pair of little scissors. I just haven't opened them up yet. They are getting a little bit dull, but it's no worries because I get them from Dollar Tree. They're Westcott, which it really actually is a good brand of scissors. Maybe not as good as Fiskars, but, and certainly not any of my really good sewing scissors like Ginger, or I don't even know the other brands. I don't have any of them. I have one pair of Fiskars fabric scissors, and they are already really dull, and I've only had them a year, so I'm not very impressed. And actually the blades are starting to come out. I don't know if it's because I actually plop them in. That could be the problem. I really don't know scissor etiquette, if there is such a thing, but I guess I'm gonna find out. I seen a really cool video with this little thing where, like, it's just a little square and it costs like 10 bucks, but it puts your scissors right on the side of it and it holds it, and like this little rubber thing on the side of your sewing machine, which I thought was pretty cool, but I'm like, it's not necessary, but it is kind of cool. But if it's really don't know what's going on. If I do get an expensive pair of scissors and it does make a difference with me plopping them in my jar, then I will reconsider that, because if I pay $40 or $50 or $60 or $70 for a pair of scissors, I'll definitely pay the $10 to save them and make them last forever, because I'm not paying $60 or $70 every year, that's for sure. Well, this is definitely, hopefully, going to go a little bit quicker than... I don't know, I was surprised that that video was so long, because it doesn't normally take that long for me to bind. I don't know if I was just a little too chatty or what. But I don't want to leave you just dead air on a video either, so... I don't know what's right, what's better, but normally the binding doesn't take me this long. I've come to a place where I came in a little bit, and I just don't know if I like the way it looks. I don't know if it'd be worth taking out or not. But then I would have to stitch over. Oh, I don't know what to do. But I just don't like the way it looks, so I'm thinking the stitch over the stitch over the last seam might be. It's probably tit for tat. It probably doesn't matter either way, but I caught it before it was too far away for me, so that was only a few little stitches to take in. So. That looks better to me. I know whoever gets this quilt is not going to be like probably noticing the binding that much, but at least I'll know. I'll know, and that's what matters, right? That I caught something I didn't like and I fixed it. A lot of times I let those kinds of things go because I'm really not that picky. I don't know why I was feeling... It might be my mood from that movie, I'm telling you. I know you're going to notice I'm not so bubbly. I don't even have anything to talk about right now. I'm just still trying to process my movie I watched. This sadness. I missed some strings when I did the front side, apparently. And like I said, when I do the turnover, the binding to the back, I only do, 2 to 3 inches, I'd say. I think my cutting was off just a smidge on this corner. When I cut my quilt, because I'm noticing what's supposed to be my 1/4 inch seam is way farther to the left than it should be. It will have to do because I'm not going to redo it now. I could go in there and just cut it real quick, but Okay, I'm coming to the end. This is where I'm pulling my bottom, what's bottom to me, or closest, the binding closest that this edge, pulling it out for the corner all the way and tight because I want it out nicely. And back stitch. There was a string up here from the front. I seriously don't know how I missed those things. So anyway, as you it's so dark tonight. I wonder why that is. So this is my quilt from the front. Okay. It looks very nice. It looks like a very nice finished edge, which is why I go front to back. And then this is my back, and it blends right into my backing if I do make any mistakes, which I've made a few already. So there you go. We're looking for a nice even seam right here. That's what I look for anyway. And I don't think I can even show you. Aha! I'll use my little seam ripper as a pointer. So, where this edge, where it goes from white to the binding, would be where my 1/4 inch seam is from the first one I did my. Now when I flip it over and do just a little bit more than my 1/4 inch seam, my second line of stitches is just outside of that. So I'm not actually going over and catching it a second time, which is another method, especially if you want to choose a zigzag method, which is pretty cool. I just don't think it worked particularly for this quilt. And then you like zigzag on and off of the, and it actually catches your front binding twice, but I'm fairly confident in my first round of stitching. I don't really feel like it's necessary to go over my stitching again from the front side. Press that out, rearrange a little bit. And then I can get my corner so that I have a good mitered corner. And honestly, people would say, you have to pin it, you wouldn't have that much of a struggle, but I promise you, I have this much struggle with it if I pin it also. In fact, I think pinning it makes me struggle a little bit more with it, because then it has that awkward bump, and ugh. There's already so many damn layers. To add a pin in there to go through that, I don't know, it just seems a little... Okay, and then back stitch. Don't forget the back stitch on the corners. I back stitched a couple times. Ugh, come on, come on, come on. I'm gonna have a little bump right there. Hold on. Make that better. Oof, mercy. The short ones I can get to, you know, just like go under the fabric in the binding. But those longer ones, I cut those. Why? Why? Gosh darn. Okay. So I'm just about halfway done with the flipping of the binding. I did it again. Ugh. And the reason I'm going to do it, take it out this time, because it actually goes on the front of the binding, and I want to keep my stitch just outside the binding to keep it uniform. None of this is necessary, believe me. It would be just fine, and probably most people would never notice, but let's see where it starts going haywire. I don't know if there's something going on with my eyes tonight, or if it's because I've been crying, but it seems awfully dark in here, and I have the same lights as I always have. Funny. Come on, Fritz. All right. What is it? I don't like to do it, but it's a pretty long stretch if I don't. Let's see. Okay. Jeez. Seriously, what's wrong with me? Seriously. That's what my daughter says all the time. Seriously? Yes, seriously. This is one of those times where it's good to leave your needle down. Like if I wouldn't have had my needle down, I probably would have lost my spot right there. You just keep going down every 2-3 inches. You just do a little stitch and then fold it over. Ooh. I'm coming to the part where I made my little quick binding. Okay, let me get there. Trick. And gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. Only when I'm on video, guys. I swear I don't do this when I'm not on video. What's going on? Ugh, I just don't like the way that looks. So this is where my binding came together. I'm going to show you guys what happened. Because I did the quick, easy binding method. This, it's hard to see, but this is what happened. It's got a little, I don't know which one to call that, a little, extra, because I didn't do it the right way. I shortcutted it last night, or the other night, and now I'm going to pay for it. That's, now I have to figure out a way to make it. Okay. I don't think anybody will notice it. I think that'll work. The problem is, don't know. How am I gonna get that in the solution? That's my problem. Okay. That didn't even help at all. That actually makes it worse. Fudge, 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 y'all. That makes it worse, I swear. Got it tucked in, just, you can still tell it's there, but it looks a little bit better. That'll work for me. But only like quilters would notice that, you know? Somebody actually looking at the stitches. Like, before I ever started doing this, I would have never ever looked at the quilt stitches. Ever. Now I look at the stitches just because I'm curious, and I try and emulate what I like. So I look at the stitches now, but it's an awfully thick area right there. Because I didn't do it the right way. But it's good, it's fun. Don't focus on the bad stuff. I try to tell myself all the time, but I do a lot. Everybody noticed their mistakes. They notice them. Literally, somebody posted a picture and was like, look what I did. And I stared at that quilt for a good 20 minutes, like trying to find the mistake. And she had a block flip-flopped. And it was a double wedding ring, I think. Anyway, that had like the star inside of it. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful quilt. I loved it. It was my favorite colors. But she flipped the star point was supposed to be on this side and it was on this side. So this was like an empty ring and this was a ring with like a star in it, and she flipped it. So anyway, it was still hard to tell because there's enough going on with a wedding ring anyway. quilt, but I was like, oh my god, I would have died. I would have died. I don't even know what I would have done. I felt so bad for her because that's a hard quilt. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's hard, but I think it's a hard quilt to put together. I've never done one. That's one of my aspirations, to do a double wedding ring quilt one day. But right now I'm enjoying my simple quilts. Like I can see, ugh. I can see, I have so many quilts I want to do because I want to do a quilt for everybody, but later on down the line, like after everybody has a quilt that I want to give a quilt, I can see myself like spending a year or 2 years just worrying about all the details and being anal about it and just loving that quilt. My biggest problem is I won't be having to buy fabric. I don't know. But I can totally see myself just focusing on one beautiful, beautiful quilt. Being a perfectionist about it. So one more. Yeah. Okay, short side but a thick side. So I've had a little bit of a thickness problem in a part or two already, so this shall be interesting. We'll see how this goes. Place, yes. You notice I am a little bit particular about where my needle ends in these mitered corners. Back stitch. Come on, I know. Ah! Come on. Come on, machine. Don't hurt me. There she goes. Why don't I get a little bit further before I try and snip the threads? How about that? come on. That's gonna hurt. Where'd he go? Okay. Ugh. There is a lot of stitches coming up. In this little part. I don't know if that'll be better for it or worse. Let's find out. One of my little mistakes. I'm glad my binding covers that. Another thing I just thought of, you'll notice I'm not using my gloves. Oh, just love how this happened. I don't use my gloves because I'm constantly sticking my fingers in there, and if I had to take my gloves off every time I had to snip, or I'm trying to say, like, smooth down the threads inside the binding, I'd lose my mind. So I just keep them off for this part. It would be easier to move my fabric around, but I would just be on and off way too many times. And then, like, to get in under there, couldn't do that with my gloves on, so. Right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Almost done, guys. Not really almost done, but. We're over 3/4 done. That wasn't so bad. There's a mess of strings here. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited this part will be done. I know I said I wanted to do the pillows. We shall see. I don't know if I'm going to video those or not. It just depends on... kind of depends on how I get to do it. Sometimes I only get 10 minutes of quilting, and I'm not going to sit down and video for 10 minutes and stop for 10 minutes and come back to it. So we'll see how that goes. But I would like to. And right now, it's... I don't know what time it is now. I was watching the movie when my husband left for work, and after the movie I tried to bring myself together, and I needed some joy in my life after the sadness, so I was like, I need to do the quilt. But that's when I quilt after my daughter is in bed and my husband's gone to work. So I normally do most of my quilting after 11 o'clock at night. Thread waster. I told you. Alright guys, this is the home stretch. Super fast. So as my binding was going, I remember how I was like, oh, I'm so glad it's going to be going that way. There are spots in my quilt where it's not going the way I wanted it to go. But you can't help that, right? Because there's 4 sides. But I think for the long sides, they are going the way I wanted to go. So, yay. I'll take 50%. Or actually, it's more than 50% because the long sides would be... I'm not doing math right now. What the hell is this? Definitely don't want any threads in my corner. Quit there. Aha. Don't move. Move. Damn it. Ew, it moved. Ooh. What to do? What to do? I just don't like the way it looks. It looks sloppy. Maybe this isn't the right night for me to be quilting. I don't know. I'm not in a let it go kind of mood, apparently. Okay, we're gonna try again. Ooh. I might have just learned something, you guys. I always pin all the way to the bottom and back up. Maybe all this time, all I need to do is pin that top layer. Ha! I've been doing it wrong this whole time, I think. I put my needle just outside my fabric and get going again. I ran over my pins because I really didn't want it to go out again, so sue me. Okay. Yay, there we go. I like that better. A lot better, okay. Oh my. Ugh. Slow down. I'm so tempted. I always want to go fast, and I start going fast, and that's when I do my mistakes every time. I almost made a boo-boo right there. I almost had to unpick again. We don't want to unpick again. It's not good. You know, there is a trick to get rid of the mitered corners, and I did it on my last quilt, and it was lovely not to have to do that, I will say. But with this particular pattern, I just don't think a rounded corner would look good when it's a square block. It might have been okay if I'd had put a border on, but no. This is where I wish I had my upgrade machine with my needle down position. Every time I've stopped, the past few times the needle's been up. Ugh. Drives me crazy. And I don't realize it until I'm already away from the needle. Anyway, the needle. Maybe if my husband watches these videos, he'll see me and let me get my new machine. So, I actually have a confession to make. I know I told you when this is. It's the end of October 2020, which happens to be the Grace Company is having a anniversary sale. I think they're like, I don't remember how many years their anniversary is for, but they're having a really good sale. And I've been wanting to get one of their frames because I just want a better way to quilt my quilts. Which is why I want the 1600p, because that way if I can get the frame and then I can get the machine, and then oh my gosh, later on down the road I might be able to get the automatic thing. Oh Lord, my dreams are so big. But anyway, the 1600p connects to their automatic machine. And they're not shy. They tell you it's only for home use. It is not for commercial use. And I actually do want to do, like, I would like to eventually not drive 3 hours to go to work and stay at home and do long arm quilting. I think like a send-in business. But all over. I don't want to do anything spectacular. I just want to do the computerized edge-to-edge quilting. But I want to do my own fancy quilting for myself. Oh, there's a bump right there. Smooth it out. I don't know if I can. Oh, there's going to be a bump there. Oh, shenanigans. I pulled my binding, apparently. Where is that bump at? Oh, it was just on it. Okay. Okay, I think I smoothed it out with some stitches. That'll be alright with me. I don't care. I'm at the point where I'm just, I don't know, I'm done with it now. I'm not going to do anything else with it. Okay. So, the front looks like that now with the binding, and the back looks like that. When I talk about my mitered corners, this is my mitered corner at a 45-degree angle, and it will be that way on both sides, provided you did that little trick I showed you with the last video. So there it is, you guys. That's the bind. That is way easier than piecing, if you ask my opinion on it. If you can piece, you can certainly bind. If you don't want to do if you don't want to do hand stitching, 100% machine binding is lovely as well. Just okay, so that's it for this video. Binding is done. Now I hope you've actually watched it. I'm sure you've watched other tutorials, but maybe you just hadn't felt like you've seen it enough, because I felt like I needed to see more and more. And I actually did the whole thing. Not very much editing out of it at all. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If not, it's just for me and my vlog anyway. But if anybody is enjoying videos, please just let me know. I would love to hear it. And I'll get back to you guys hopefully with another video on one of those pillows or both of those pillows to match this quilt. And have a great quilting day.